you again.
Yeah, nice to catch up with you because I was very thrilled by your Facebook Live, which was like very solid content. I was thrilled by that. And then you did a ranting video that actually caught my attention.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, we're going through some difficult family times right now.
Mm,
So,
understand.
and well, besides that, well, first of all, it's really good to see you again. It's been
Mm,
too long.
yeah, far too long because I have been. I mean, if you know the history of me with JT Fox, I was exiled by JT in 2016. So since then, I kind of disappeared in the circle because of that conflict. So I'm glad that we are reconnected somehow.
Well, I have not worked with him in a long time, like since last year.
Mm,
I've just not. I mean, because I had things going on with my own health, et cetera, et cetera. But I just got so disgusted
okay.
with the way people were being treated. Yeah.
Okay.
And the way they did things. And
Mhm.
even because the last time I saw you, if I remember right, was at JT's house.
Yeah, that
And
would be 2015.
yeah,
Or no,
probably.
2015 or 2016. Yeah, 16.
Maybe 2016. Yeah.
16, yeah.
And he kept teasing you. He'd always say hashtag thank you or something like that. And
Well,
I could tell when I saw your face, I knew. I was like, you just don't treat people like that. And it was just so I in last 2 years I barely did anything with them.
oh,
And I
okay.
just got so fed up with them. Yeah. And so luckily the one smart thing I did was
Mm,
I never signed a contract with them ever.
that's very smart. This requires years of experience to know what you need to do. And you
Exactly.
don't want to have that kind
So
of like thing about like I've seen so much about the departure of Damien, and that kind of ranting like consecutively for a few months is something that I totally not want.
no, well, and the funny thing is, people ask me about that, but I was away because last year, right at this time last year is when I had all my surgery, so I didn't even know what was going on with Damien.
Oh my God! Wow, that
I
that
had
kind of
I
ranting online. Oh
well, I saw the ranting,
wow.
yeah, but I had no and to this day I still don't, who knows the truth.
Yeah,
To me, unless you have firsthand knowledge, you don't know.
yeah.
But it really troubled me because I posted to you on Facebook. I remember the day we met in Singapore
Yeah,
at Santon.
first time.
Oh no, sorry, Sentosa.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
Sentosa, first time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember that very very clearly, very clearly.
Thank you.
And well, no, it's easy to remember good people. I mean,
Well, there are still
it
good
just
people in
bothered.
the
It
circle.
really well, good people are good people, and it just again it bothered me that the top one, and I couldn't do those top ones anymore because I just didn't think they were delivering value, and I couldn't. It was getting ridiculous. I mean, to me, people paid all that money. I mean, I get, and I want to ask you about your high ticket stuff. I'm very curious about
No
that
problem.
because
Later, we can set the
I
ground
saw,
rules and then catch up first before we talk about business. No.
yeah, but um, people pay a lot of money, and that's okay if you get the value,
Hmm.
obviously. But the thing that bothered me is you'd go to these top ones or like Dream Team, and people pay money. But then when I sit back and I'm a coach, and I'm like, why aren't we teaching content here? Like you get one 15-minute, 20-minute hot seat, and then you get maybe one 15-minute one-on-one coaching session.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time I was with JT at his home in both in Thailand, well, not his rented home in
Yeah.
Thailand, let's be
Rent home. Mm-hmm.
that's straight, right?
Yeah.
And his home in the USA, he had me do 53 one-on-ones. And I'm like,
Wow.
I'm a great coach, but and I could create miracles, but I'm not that great, and everybody expects magic, of course, Jack, because I mean, if I paid that money, I'd want magic too. But it made me think, people sit there for 3-4 days. They get one hot seat where JT just rips you apart, which to me is ridiculous.
That's his style. We know that.
Because, well, sometimes he was right, but I saw him make mistakes many, many times with people's businesses and brands because he wasn't listening. Because he would tell me, that's not coaching, just start coaching. And I go, well, that's like a doctor trying to write a prescription without knowing what the problem is. That's not coaching, that's stupidity.
Yes.
And so, but that last time at his home, I think the last one I did was at his home, and it was 53 or 54 one-on-ones. And I just said that I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. And morally and ethically, I can't do it. And plus I got really angry when I found out that his strategists were making, the salespeople were making way more money than us coaches when we had to do all the work. Okay. And the coaches were not being paid fairly. I got fed up. I sent him a private message. I just said, that's ridiculous. I'm building the students you're showing off on stage. I'm the one who coached them. Most of those success stories were mine. And I was like, that does it. And then, my own health stuff. And I just said, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So here we are.
I feel sorry for you because that's just part of our life. And there's always a good side of me leaving JT. And of course, the other side, I won't call it a sad story. It's just that our relationship has to end that way. And at the same time, without that incident that he deemed me the betrayer or whatever you like to call it, I wouldn't do what I'm doing
ridiculous.
Today. So I believe that, okay, that might be a very good way for me to be excused and leave the circle. And I never look back because I love the fact that, well, I still give a lot of credits. Like when I did my coaching, when I did my transformational processes, sometimes I still give credits to JT because without him, I wouldn't be building my foundation based on his teaching style, based on his content. I won't be doing what I'm doing today. So I'm still giving credit to JT. JT's teaching, but the personality part is something that I believe that a lot of us begin to be aware that we cannot accommodate easily because this side of JT thoughts is very difficult to manage. Yeah.
Well, and I'd agree. I mean, because I would have never met you if it weren't for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny thing is, and I said this on the video, I never had any dream or goal to become a coach. I mean, I did platform speaking to sell my investment stuff years ago, and I was very good. I was probably in the top 5 for sure in Canada and US, for sure. I know that for a fact. And then so I did that, and then I sold that business. But it was a mutual friend who introduced me to JT, and he recruited me to become a coach and speaker.
Yep, that's right. That's how you started.
I didn't go to him. He recruited me. Yeah. That's a verifiable fact, And so, and I was very cautious at the time because I was like, oh, I don't know about this guy. But the thing that I thought I could make a difference, because at that time I was just turning 50 and I thought, well, I'm too young to retire. What am I going to do? And so I thought, well, maybe I can make a difference. As long as he's not too off what I believe in, but then eventually when I saw these things happening and, yeah, exactly. And the students, the people like yourselves, and I still, gosh, I miss coming out to Singapore, and I have still people every day like, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? When are you coming back? And so at any rate, with everything going on in my life, because I was sick, but I'm really well healed now.
Yeah.
but unfortunately, both of my wife's parents are stage 4 cancer, and I decided I needed to. A good friend of mine said, "You need to record some content." Oops, do we have it here?
Yep. Okay.
Oh, there we go. There we
Yep.
go. So a friend of mine, a good friend, he said, "You should record your content." And I said, "Well, how am I going to do?" Because I like just speaking. I find my process, I find it very difficult to type and write.
Yeah, you can speak well. I don't imagine that you can type and create content based on that. Maybe I can.
Well,
You are better in terms of doing this.
You know what, Jack? Truthfully, I can, but it's just very slow for me.
Yeah.
It's very slow. I can't. I'm actually quite a skilled writer, but it's just so slow.
Yeah.
I find it my process is to make bullet points.
Yeah.
And then I can just, as long as I have a blueprint, a roadmap, then I can just like blah, 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 and out it comes.
Yeah.
And then I can go back and transcribe that and refine it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So what I decided to do, I said, well, I might as well, if I'm going to do this, I should monetize this, but I'll make it really, really cheap, because so I put this together for $4.97 US, which is a joke because
really, when I heard what your content is only $490, or for me $500, I said, wow. I would imagine that with the first few minutes, 25 spots would snap up easily because you have a big fan base.
Well, they did, but as you know, because I'm going to make an assumption here, because you've studied high ticket selling, sometimes when you price it too cheap, people are like, well, what's wrong with it? And well, what do I get? And I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me. But I really didn't care because for me, I needed to do this anyways.
Yep.
And it's a good process for me because I'm going to monetize it. And what's funny is I did the first 3 modules. I'm writing the 4th one right now. There's already, 6 hours and probably 75 pages of notes.
Oh my God.
Bullet point notes. Yeah. And so I have enough there to create 5 events probably.
Okay.
Seriously.
I got this. Yeah.
because it's when you're teaching to the camera, it's one thing, but if you're and I really like this. By the way, I wanted to tell you something. I didn't want to because I was sick at the time. I noticed you'd gone through some certification programs and what's the word I'm looking for? Not event fulfillment, but facilitation.
Oh, yeah. I am a Blessing certified trainer. Is that day when I received the certificate that JT exiled me from the circle? I know. Day of 6th of August, 2016.
But that's okay. But what I noticed, and this is one thing I liked, is I see all the drawings in the background there with your notepads.
Yes.
That's totally me, by the way. My office is completely a mess with that stuff.
Okay.
So like that physical script writing on the on the flip charts, that is, your retention is 20 to 30 times higher when you do that stuff.
In PowerPoint slides. Yep.
Yeah, this. I'm talking to the singing to the choir, as it says. But the interesting thing is, it's one thing to do it in front of the camera, but the one thing I pointed this out to JT before. I said we need to engage the audience. In other words, like right now, the modules I'm doing right now is just content. But if I was doing that live, it would be, here's a chunk of content. Now we're going to do an exercise so you guys actually learn this stuff.
Yeah.
Because
giving the information. There's no interaction. There's no dialoguing.
Well, you have to engage because the thing is, one of my best students from years ago, one of my first students from South Africa, he said something very wise to me. He said, I want to learn how to think like you. I want to know your process. And I went, finally some wisdom here. And so I said, okay, you want to think like me? I will show you how I do what I do. And let's do this together. And he learned how to do, and his company just blew up through the roof. I mean, he had 400% growth in 18 months. And I still have students. I got one of my other students just yesterday messaged me back. He goes, ever since I worked with you 3 years ago, we've grown 56% a year for the last 3 years. And he has 4,000 employees.
Okay.
So
wow.
I was, so I was like, what? This is amazing. So I knew that if I took all that content and I did it live at events, because what I'm teaching right now is like, it's like, how do you say, frozen concentrated orange juice? You know? It's
well,
like,
I understand. It's a very
like
typical live course. I mean, the online course where I guess I'll just sit, watch, consume, and after a while, I may decide to drift away. I may be doing something else, or maybe I would say I will probably pause, and when I'm ready, I'll come back. And the truth is that maybe 85% of people will never come back, and they waste the money. Yeah, it's typical online course that I do.
But the good thing about, for me at least, and this is why, that's why I sold it so cheap, is because for me it was a way of you know, categorizing and building that material. And then I had the blueprint for me to turn it into these events so that I could create amazing events and have these interactive exercises. Because like the stuff I'm doing on branding, for example, I don't teach, like branding is not, JT doesn't have a clue what branding is. I just laugh. And you know what's really funny, Jack? I started posting that you need to start subtitling your videos on Facebook. And just today, his new video comes out and he's subtitling. Big surprise. That guy steals everything from me. And like 2 weeks ago, I said something about, I'm going to put out a course. It's relevant. You need not experience, but relevant experience. Marketing has changed. And then all of a sudden I see his stuff come out. Say, he copies me all the time.
Oh my God.
He does it all the time.
Okay. I don't know that bit. Thanks for sharing. I'll keep my mouth shut. I'll just laugh.
Well, no, it's and I've known it before, because you know what he did? I was saying in audiences 3 to 4 years ago, I started saying, stop selling and start inspiring.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks later, he goes, stop hating and start inspiring.
Yeah.
And I go, you ripped me off again. You just like...
Well, that's him. That's him. He loves researching, record it around, and take the best out of that. But that's him. Okay.
You know what? My old business partner said, he told me today, he goes, hey, you should be grateful. At least he's stealing from the best.
Yeah. Your content is great. And I don't know much about his content right now because I lost touch. And the fact is that in the last 2 years, he didn't really come to Singapore that often, maybe once a year.
I know.
Yeah.
You know what? Because some of my students from KL were saying they signed, you know, that dream team we were at 3 years ago. They're like, we signed up lifetime and there's nothing.
Okay.
Like never come back, right?
Never.
And I was like, well, that's, you paid for this and you know, anyways, so.
Well, I still have $12,000 with him because I paid for one top one. I actually paid 25 grand a few years ago for 2 top ones. I only one of them, and I didn't ask the money back. I'll just let go. Move forward. There's no point of going back and see him. I don't even know whether I'll be welcomed by him if I show up. So that's fine. No problem.
Well, I you know, I've been at the top of everything they did, and I just left because I said there's nowhere to go here, and I don't believe in what they're doing anymore, and their brand strategy is all wrong, and all this celebrity branding that doesn't work anymore. That's done. That was done 2 years ago already.
Yeah. That's the golden year. Now is celebrity branding. Everybody, when you have money, you can do that. It's like everybody will do the same thing, and are you going to do the same thing with them? I know.
Yeah, but you know what the key is today? If you have to be the celebrity. That's the key.
Oh, sorry, own brand.
Yep, your own story, your own brand. And I figured that stuff out months ago, and I was saying that months ago. And I have all sorts of friends and relationships in public relationships, or sorry, public relations, and brilliant Instagram and Facebook people, like brilliant geniuses, and nobody knows who they are. And see, that's the key.
Yeah.
If you're the real gems are not, if you go to like big seminars, you're not going to find what you need. The real you have to go into the mine, you digging for the mine in mining for gold.
Yeah.
If you go to Grant Cardone, and there's some good stuff there for sure.
Yeah.
But the real gems, I know talent when I see it. And so I've found very, very talented people. Nobody knows they are, but they're brilliant at what they do. And I said, I want to work with you guys because I've seen, and because your accounting is in tax and
tax.
Accounting and taxation, right? Tax code. Yeah.
Taxation. Yeah.
Right. So you look for the numbers, right?
Not really, because I'm not. I refrain from saying to the world that I'm an accountant, although I'm a chartered accountant, because my unique selling proposition is the fact that I am able to simplify the law, the taxation law, in such a way that people can consume and comprehend.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But that aside, what I meant to say was you're smart enough to pay attention to the metrics.
Oh yes, of course. That's my skill.
And I don't come from that background. I'm more of a sales and marketing guy, but I learned to pay attention to metrics really quickly because that's how you monetize them. You have to pay attention to that stuff. Exactly. So with the guys, the people I know from PR and Instagram or Facebook experts, and I only know like 3 people, but they're geniuses. I looked at their metrics and I was like, oh my God, you guys are brilliant. So I've been sitting on them for a while. So I'm going to. I've decided to start very slowly building out my own stuff because people have been bugging me for years about that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure I was ahead of the curve and very timely, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I did the whole thing at $4.97 because I needed to start capturing that material. And if I'm not gonna. If I have to do all this work to capture this, I might as well get paid while I'm doing it.
Oh yeah, at least we call it cover the cost of production.
Well, it's more than covered the cost, but anyway. So that's why I did it. But listen, tell me, how does this? What your high ticket? Okay. Yeah, because I was a platform sales speaker, so I knew how to close from the stage.
Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff has changed too.
Sure.
And the neuroscience and neuromarketing and closing techniques change, et cetera, et cetera. So I was really, because I saw your posts about that like months ago, and I was just silent because I was still healing and away from this racket. And so I was really curious as to how that worked because
something less. It's very interesting that I see the way I position myself. I always, in the last few weeks especially, I always like to tell students that I'm not a person where my post will be like, share, or comment. It's hardly anybody will comment, like, and share my post. I can see the matrix.
Yeah, but that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it does matter because at the end, a lot of people just like come to PM me, just to WhatsApp me if they know my number. And that's where I'll be extremely happy. Because the skill set that we have as high ticket closer is to close it in this way, one-on-one, or just using a phone. So I don't even need to like doing a lot of great sales presentation because we don't need that. So in this time, just allow me to just give you what happened in the last 12 months. So
I'm listening.
People to know what the heck is this high ticket closing is all about. So first of all, give credit to my teacher, who is living in your country, by the way, Dan Locke. He is in Vancouver.
Okay.
Yep. So Dan Locke has built a very big brand over the last 12 months. So
I know the name.
Yep. So Dan has built this high-ticket closing community with 4,400 students spanning across over 140 countries in just 1 year. So JT is nowhere competing with them. It's not even there. So anyway,
Yeah.
story is that Dan sees that like, a lot of you who created good content. So let me just give you a name. Your name is called an influencer. So influencer, typically in our jargon, would be a person where he has got contents, where he's offering to the world at premium prices, and premium defined as somewhere along like $3,000 and above, then we can call it premium offer. So you doing it as a coach, a consultant, or you can be a B2B environment where you offer your services, your product at that premium price. So that's where we are coming to help you guys, because our experiences is that, number one, you create the content. And in the sales cycle, we all know that the last bit, which is the most important one, is to close. And study has shown that most people are too enjoying creating content to transform lives of people, their clients, but it comes to the closing part, either they don't have the time, or some of them just simply not enjoying. So,
or they don't have the skills to do so.
Yeah, so many reasons. So that is the piece where Dan has created this niche, whereby let us take over using our high-ticket closing skill to help influencers close the deal. And what happens is that when we close the deal, the influencers can continue serving the clients. So we are only because of this particular component of the sales cycle. And it's a niche market right now. And
I get it.
So in terms of like how we usually close, you mentioned the platform closing. Of course, platform closing and phone call closing, the principles will be similar, except because the vehicles are different, so they will require different skills. So in terms of phone closing, most of the people who are learning high-ticket closing would prefer what we call a funnel from the influencer. So when you receive a funnel, when you create a funnel, all we come in is to receive the leads from the funnel from you, and then we would just go through the leads, and then we'll start closing one after one if we can. And essentially, because it's high ticket, so we are not talking about the features and benefits anymore. We are going to the pain point and help them clarify whether the product or the service is really helping them. If this is yes, then we'll just help them say yes. If it's just no, we don't push them because it's not the right time or may not be the right offer. We'll just let it go. So which
is good. It's smart. That's smart and very ethical at the same time.
So as a result, we say that high-ticket closing or high-ticket closers are able to help influencers to increase the conversion because we are able to use certain techniques to help the prospects to gain clarity. So I will just summarize. This is the process that we do.
No, I get it. I get it. I'm a marketing guy, so I totally understand it.
Some people ask, so exactly what you do? How do you convey the message to them and say, okay?
No. You actually, I'm the one guy you don't have to explain that to.
Okay, that's good. So that is basically high-ticket closing. I don't like to do the closing, although I can close. I enjoy, like, I'm 50 years old this year. So interesting.
Join the club. So don't we look good though?
Yes.
I'm 56 now. I'm gonna be 57 in 3 months. Can you imagine? So, but I think I look pretty handsome.
Okay. So anyway, a few months ago, just talk about Singapore. Singapore right now, we have got about 44 high-ticket closers. Dan has been running this 7-week class since October 2017. October 2017. So we are going to finish the 8th batch. We call the season 8 this Friday. And in Singapore, we have got 40 plus high-ticket closers. And the question that always pop up from the high-ticket closer is, so after the course, where can I find the influencer? Where are these influencers showing up? Please tell me. So there's a common problem amongst the community. So I come from a background where I have got a very excellent, I call it excellent and amazing relational network behind me, because I know a lot of you guys with one person knowing another person behind. So I do have this kind of network. So I came from the unique selling proposition that, well, what if I can build a team whereby you guys will be just like the associates in the law firm. So I put myself into law firm context. So I'm the managing partner. My only job is to manage the team and bring clients on board. And you guys will be my associates. All I need will be training you. All I need is you guys close and then bring the profits back, and then we share accordingly. So I thought that model in October last year, and I'm so happy that the model got buy-in, and therefore at this point in time, I've got 13 high-ticket closers, one from Melbourne, one from Brunei, the rest are from Singapore, who are part of my team right now. So we do start service some of the influencers primarily in Asia Pacific region. We do help them to do the phone closing, and sometimes like the platform close, we have a specific term called back to the room closers. So we can perform the back to the room. So when you send people off to the back table, let's say they have they don't sign on the spot, we can take over to close.
Well, see, okay, so that's interesting because because things have changed so much out there, I'm trying to decide, online is really cool, but I'm pretty good on video, but I'm best live. I mean, me live in person, that seems to be the thing. That's the feedback I get. But doing live events is extremely expensive and extremely risky. So I'm trying to figure.
It's not just Singapore. Even we know that the fact is that I've got complaints, not complaints about me. I mean, just complaints about the market right now in Singapore. To fill a room, Facebook ad is extraordinarily crazy. Facebook ad cost is crazy. And you know what will fill the room right now? Anything that relates to stock, property investing, sure, the room can be filled. But anything other than this, it's very hard to fill.
Very difficult. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've done my homework. And the funny thing, I don't know why stocks, because the stock market is so corrupt. I ran an investment company. If people only knew how corrupt the markets were, that's why I left the investment business. It's so corrupt. I knew guys that were promoting, Bitcoin and all this stuff, and they wanted me because I had an investment background. They were like, "Oh, you got to come on. You know how to pitch this stuff." I said, "I am not going anywhere near crypto." And thank God. And I warned everybody, and I warned JT too. I warned them. I said, "You are walking into a den of snakes, poison of snakes." And I think he's getting bitten by that too right now. Or so I've heard.
Yeah.
I said, you guys are promoting ICOs and stuff. I said, you don't understand, because when we were, because I worked in Canada and the United States, that was very heavily regulated. I was registered with the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, with the National Futures Association. I had to go a deep underground FBI check, like background check, all the fingerprinting, all the the stuff that goes with that industry. And I said, you guys can't just go promoting stuff and coming up with these schemes. I don't care, like, even if it's gray market, because the government is going to come back and and so I just stayed, like, anybody crypto, I was like, nope, I'm staying out of that because it's way too. And now, what a mess. Because I knew a fellow, actually, who was in Singapore. I don't know if you know him, Louis Pinto. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. He claimed that making $5 million just to teach people or educate people on cryptocurrency, 5 million US dollars.
Well, and see, I don't know Louis super well. I know him. I met him in Bangkok a few years ago and saw him on and off at some of JT seminars. But he called me up. He's like, "Oh, Les, you should come out. You should start pitching crypto because you were an investment guy. You owned your own firm." And I was like, "You need to stay out of that." And now all of that is all falling apart. And he took off to Malaysia now.
Yeah.
Probably because everybody's after him. Because
crypto was very hot last year. And now no one talks about it. And government down cryptocurrency or the ICO thing in Singapore. As we know, Singapore is very tough in terms of regulations.
Of course, yeah. Well, that's the one, and see, that's the thing I couldn't understand, Jack, because I said Singapore is a major banking hub
Yep.
in that part of the world,
Yep.
and a very, very strict, disciplined country. You
Very.
know, and so I'm like, you guys can't be offering, all these different crypto things. You have no registrations, no statements, the regulatory stuff is a mess, like gray at best. Anyway, so
A very great line on this. So in terms of investing or financial stuff, as long as you don't cross the line of providing investment advice or help them,
correct.
You are still
Yeah.
safe. So Louis positioned himself as, I'm just a person educating them about how to invest, but I'm not going to help them officially.
Yeah, but the problem is there was all these people on the outside that were offering investment stuff.
Yeah.
And I warned him. I got my old business partner, Kevin, and he's a regulatory expert in the United States. He goes, "You guys are insane." So at any rate, well, you and I have to try and figure out a way to work together. I'm trying to figure out.
So last night, I know that we have a call this morning. So I was like, while I was thinking about some of the ideas while I was sleeping, so I couldn't really sleep well because I'm still thinking about this call. I'm not kidding. I'm serious. I work on numbers. So I started with the positioning like Les is offering $500 for 25 people. So how much is the revenue coming in? So that's how I started this positioning. I said, Les can do much better because what if he can add 1 0 behind? Because the content definitely is worth 1 more 0 behind. So
at least.
So my point is that if I can help Les to find a way to raise the value in such a way that you can offer $5,000 minimum, and then,
well, I could, Jack, I could easily charge that. I mean, again, just to reiterate, the reason I only charge $500, and I only put that out there on Facebook, that it hasn't even been marketed. I never tagged any, so it's not even public knowledge, really.
Yeah, I understand that.
For me, it was a download process. I could do the information and capture my content, and I could make a few $1,000 at it. Well, more than that, but
I perfectly understand that part. I'm just talking about in terms of a medium term, longer term. Let's pretend we can work together. Obviously, the first thing I want from you will be your offer is a high ticket. Then you will entice the high ticket closers to be helping you, because in the market, in terms of the commission that we are earning, basically is around 10% minimum. So in terms of 10% of gross, it is
big deal. So what? Fair enough. Right? I don't care.
Well, some people say 10%. Oh my god! But my cost of production is X and X and Y. Why? And you take 10%, and I will make no money. So
no. Listen, Jack, with me, you don't have to explain that. I was in platform speaking.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Anyway, so I said that if we can work on the high ticket offer, then I can assure you that some of my closers will be very interesting working with you, and we can help each other on this.
Okay, so what do we need to do? Forgive me, because I know it's getting a bit late here, and I have to talk to my wife yet.
I understand.
But yeah, no, I'm totally interested in that. I was very intrigued with what you were doing. What I saw you post online about high ticket closing, and I get I get it. I used to in fact, you don't know this, but when I ran my investment company, because I used to go do platform speaking at events, but I actually hired an extra person. I hired a phone closer, to follow up afterwards, follow up in the leads, and I paid him a commission. And I think I'd have to ask Kevin. I can't remember what we paid him. It was probably 10% or whatever the case
that's
was.
The market rate
Yeah,
anyway.
pretty typical. But that guy got me an extra 30% sales.
That's good.
And Yeah, and in those days, I was doing multi-room events, so it was like these pitchathons, right?
Yeah.
And I used to room close at 16.3% at a multi-room event. So if there was 8 other speakers, I'd close at 16.3,
60
which was that's very, very respectable in those days. I mean, today I could probably close higher, but again, stuff always changes. But the thing I realized is that when you're up there pitching, and because I was so good at what I did, I didn't do a 90. Had me down to 60 minutes, and that's hard because I was selling at $4,000, and that's in 2005. So that's like $10,000. I was doing a 60-minute pitch. Call it $10,000 today. A 60-minute pitch. So I was good. I was good, but I also recognize the fact. To me, it's all found money, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Found money, right? Who cares? You want an extra 10%? Found money. That means it's one more.
Yeah.
One more. So I mean, I can create the content. I can deliver. I was trying to think, how do I build this out right now under the circumstances without having to lay out hundreds of thousands of dollars in event costs? And I know people want to see me. I got people who want to see me all over the world, but it's not that easy because of the logistics.
Yeah.
And even though I've got very smart Facebook guys, so I'm thinking, how do we do that? How can we start? Because I thought one of the things I wanted to do with this, Jack, is I said, and this is part of the reasons I wanted to do this course. I started promoting this course. I sold it before I built it.
Yeah.
And so it's paying for itself. And that's kind of part of, I wanted to make it a lesson within a lesson. You know what I mean? So I could teach people and say, listen, because it's easy to say, oh, look at this wall. I mean, look at all this stuff, right? You should see my office. It's crazy. I got, it's covered wall to wall with gold records and autographed stuff. And I mean, it's crazy in here. And then people say, well, easy for you, and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to do this under the hardest possible circumstances. I'm going to do it with no money, no promotion, no tagging. My wife's away. Her parents are dying from cancer. Any more excuses? And I thought this would be the most, I'm sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional here. This would be the best way I could possibly give somebody and teach somebody from real life.
From my perspective, you create a legacy. So you can leave your wisdom to the next generation.
Well, exactly, because I've earned it, and I didn't want to. I had thought, because I'd thought about, I have some stock assets and stuff. I thought about liquidating. I thought, well, what if I throw $250,000 behind this? I thought about that very seriously. And then I thought, well, come out, because then I can come up with, great photography and great videos. And I went, wait a second, that is not who I am. I spent so many sleepless nights over that, because even though I've been in show business for a long time, I thought that's me. That's not who I am. The person that that you met 3 years ago, same guy. We're still talking here. I'm the same guy. I haven't changed one single bit, even though I've been on. I figured it out. 78 cities in 24 countries, 5 continents.
That's awesome.
Holy man!
Yeah,
I mean, that's huge. But if I come out with all this big gold and platinum, big fashion show, super image, high-tech Uber production video, there's not going to be one person in the world that can relate to that. Like, not one. And especially in this day and age. So I really thought that over, and I thought, why don't I do this right from zero, just like everybody else has to do it? So no money. I mean, I've got the money, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to put any money into this. I'm going to sell it before. I'm going to build it as I go. So there's no excuses and no baloney and no nonsense.
Mm.
And here it is. It's real. It's authentic. And oh, by the way, I just went through a year having skin cancer, having my face ripped apart, and my wife's away, and her parents are dying, and what's your excuse? Forgive me. I'm looking at you on my screen here, but I should be seeing you. My camera's up here. So
yeah, no excuse. Yeah.
you know what I mean? So that I really thought about that. So I thought, the heck with it. I'm just going to do it. And that's kind of where I'd start. And yeah, for a legacy, absolutely. Because I, worked so hard to learn all this stuff. And it has bothered me. It's been on my moral conscience. That so many thousands of people out there, and I get people message me all the time for help, and I'm like, how do I help? Sue Tong, she messaged me the other day, and she's like, your voice needs to be heard by millions. And I'm like, well, how do I do that?
Well, the only thing without traveling to Asia is to put yourself online.
Yeah, well, I know.
Medium.
Well, yeah. And so, I mean, so what do we need? Do you need like a sales funnel? Is that what we need for this? Because I can do that.
Okay, so what you will help the closers, because for closers, we are doing the closing, specialized closing. So if you approach any of Dan Lott's high-ticket closer, like imagine you go to his circle and ask for help, you will still get this question like, what are your leads like? Are they consistent? How many leads will you get generally from your funnel? So yes, you will get this kind of what we call questions from a typical closer. It is true.
Well, right now, I don't have that data because I just don't know.
Yeah, I understand. So it's easy to start from what we call lowest hanging fruit. I mean, the high-ticket closers trained or just freshly graduated from the course will love all these lowest hanging fruits. So inbound call is easier. Outbound is tougher because outbound requires a different skill set, and some of them.
Yeah, I understand.
So like if I go, hey Les, is that Les? I'm calling you because I want to tell you something. A lot of people just so cold call is very tough. So
forget that. We're not going to do that.
We would prefer something of a funnel to be built, and then when you do a webinar and get people apply, and then they leave you with the email address or the contact number, that's how you can send it to us, and then we can actually do the rest, do the best we can to help you close it. So that would
I can do that. I can do that because I already have the people to help me to do that and do Facebook ads and all that stuff.
Good. So you have a funnel, like just a very simple funnel, just a webinar about your at the end about your offer, and you do application. That would be the ideal. It's like a textbook example that we always get from the course.
Yeah. No, okay. No, I can totally do it because I have I have people that owe me favors.
So now they have to pay back.
Yes, because I've done a lot of favors.
Okay.
Lots of favors for lots of people.
So in the relational capital right now, withdrawing relationship bank.
That was probably one of the best things I did in this organization is I did so many favors. I got people work. I got them work. I sent them clients and got them work.
Yeah.
So now it's like my turn.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking a lot. Okay, that makes sense.
And for me, the reason why I approached you because not only because we know each other for a long time, it's also because I'm seeing the closest my team having another challenge. And the challenge is that it's good to talk about closing. But sometimes when you ask how do I position myself so that I can help you guys to close, help the closing team to close, that requires some sort of business aspect or strategy. And imagine a person who has no business background, has not done any business before, they only learn the skill called high-ticket closing. They will not be able to discuss with you all this strategy. So I'm thinking of taking my team to the next level to inspire them at least with some business content so that they can think like a business owner. When they ask all these questions to help the influencers to close, they are able to sound intelligent, more intelligent.
Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, no, I understand that. So well, the stuff I'm putting on these modules is, I mean, it's beyond business basics. What I did is I figured out, it's, well, people call it high level, but as I was saying on my video, my rant video the other day, it's not so high level that you can't understand it.
Yeah.
Because it isn't. I mean, you know me, you've seen me teach before. I break everything down to a very, I mean, it's pretty deep, but it's also, well, there we go. It's also the stuff you need. It's all the best stuff that I used as a coach. Like all the, I haven't had, that's why is one of my things. It was very liberating for me because I finally started to be able to download all the techniques that I couldn't teach at any of these top ones or dream teams. And it was all the stuff that I found worked for my best coaching students. Yeah. So, and some of it's kind of deep, but in the other hand, it's the kind of stuff that if you share with business people, they'll go, holy man, like where did that come from?
Yeah.
You know, like one of my first lessons I teach is, you know, because people talk about the why, the big why in business.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay, well, I break that down into what I call poetic purpose. And then I really break that down.
Oh my
and
God.
I give examples of companies and people that I worked with. And I actually give 4 examples of the actual poetic purpose that I wrote. And every time I wrote, poetic purpose is just expressing your why in higher terms of how you serve humanity. In other words, you express to the world in very poetic terms how you specifically, with your God-given gifts, are changing the world. Because if you just say, I'm an accountant, that doesn't inspire anybody. Nope. But if you find poetry to express that, because poetry digs into the subconscious mind, that's neuroscience marketing. Okay. If you can express what you do in poetry, that inspires you and your team and the audience you're trying to reach.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff I'm teaching on this stuff. I mean, it's like mind-blowing stuff. And the thing is, it's not that difficult. I explain it in a way just the way I did so you can understand it. And the funny thing is and then further on in the modules, I have something called PVP, which is purpose and values. And this is where you codify, what's the word? I'm not sure. Codify. I say codify. Where you can actually take your poetic purpose and define it in terms of morals, ethics, values, and purpose, and you can codify that into behaviors, and so that every decision you make in your company is made by yes or no, according to this kind of audit code, if I can use accounting as an example.
Makes sense.
In every company I've done this with, we start with poetic purpose, and then we define what does poetic purpose look like in behaviors. It means we do this or we don't do this. It's a very simple ruler, like here we go. There's a ruler. It becomes a very simple measuring stick to know if you're on track or off track. And the cool thing about it is this: when it comes to recruitment, okay, do you know Imran?
Imran Simon?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. Imran. So he's H&R, right? Hire and retain. Right. So when it comes to hiring and retaining, that strategy becomes excellent for recruitment because it automatically attracts the people who buy into your brand religion. And that's another thing I talk about, creating brand religion. And it automatically repels the people who don't believe and don't conform to the code that you believe in. They don't buy into your religion. So goodbye. And so that's the kind of stuff I teach in this stuff. I mean, it sounds really high level, but it's actually really simple because when people join a religion, I mean, most people are born into religions. But if you actually choose to, say, switch to a religion, for example, from
Mm-hmm.
Buddhism to Taoism to Christianity or Judaism, take your pick, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
always a code or a creed, and
Mm-hmm.
you buy into that. You
Yep.
buy into the 10 Commandments, as it were,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you choose to live by. So this is sort of the same thing. That's how I do this stuff. And that builds the foundation for the brand. It builds
Mm-hmm.
the foundations for the marketing, the branding, the advertising, the
Yep.
systems, the recruitment, everything.
Yep.
The whole lotus flower is built into everything I'm teaching in these 11 modules.
Mm. Yeah.
So, yeah. So if people knew,
If the word is if people knew.
this is like, that's the stuff I've been teaching in here.
Yeah.
I mean, and I break it all down. And the funny, I call it evergreen wisdom, because it's something where you can go back to it and go back to it. And when you come back to it, you'll have the new mindset. As you know, you have a new frame, a new paradigm. And every time you see it and hear it again and read through the notes, you go, because I've had people say that to me over the years, where they're like, I didn't get what you were saying a year ago, but now I get it. Because that's another thing of how I teach. I do those anchors because I know a bit of NLP.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfectly understood. That's
Yeah.
for like the context, the environment. I told Blair, it took me 3 whole years to figure out exactly what he was talking about. The moment
Well,
I
yeah.
got it, I was like, oh, duh, so simple. Yeah, 3 years to figure this out.
Yeah, but see, that's the best kind of training there is.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you gain what you grasp so much here, and then as you grow, you grasp this much, and that's why I call it evergreen, right?
Yeah.
And you continually revisit, and so yeah, in terms of legacy, that's what I'm doing. So those modules right now, I just did. My next one I'm doing on marketing.
This one at the back, the flip chart, the 3 corners basically are talking about creating your content and then to be able to convert it in such a way that your prospect becomes a student, and most importantly, the process of closing, which is this corner, talking about these students embrace the opportunity and say yes and follow you for as long as you can. So this is the ultimate triangular formula.
Right. Well, that's the thing too, that with JT, he's using so much. He's overdoing the NLP and neuroscience.
Yeah.
Because you create burnout, because people they buy into the Kool-Aid so much that within 12 to 14 months they start waking up, and then they're burnt and they're done.
Yeah.
And that's a horrible business strategy, and that's why it's not working anymore. But yeah,
he has world record. He did very well last year, and he said amazing people are still coming to me, and if each event is full. Okay, that is always the one part of what he put on social media, and the truth obviously can be another part that I will never.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I know, because I've been there. So that's what you see is not it's not
Understand.
accurate. So okay, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to. I'm very interested in working with you on this, and I'm happy if I can sell you the course, and you can, if you want to use it to train your guys. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I'll have to. What I'll do is I'll reformat it so that you can, because right now the way I have it is you can't download the videos.
Okay.
So I'll give you a version where you can download the videos, and the audios are downloadable, and the notes are downloadable. But I didn't want to make the videos downloadable because I didn't want people to, start putting them out in social media.
Let's face it, this is a question that a lot of people are asking. Can you really block the video to be downloaded?
Yeah, I already know.
There's always smart guy out there who is able to do the
Yeah, I already know that, but if I figured, well, if I put one more little stumbling block in there, like why not? But
But yeah, you prevent maybe a certain percentage of people who didn't have the technology or skill to do that, and they will never be able to handle it. But
yeah, I mean, truthfully, on such a small sample, I really wasn't that worried, anyways.
it's
But
good.
I do want to thank you for at least having the consideration to ask me beforehand. I
Yeah,
appreciate
because
that.
I don't want to buy a course from you, and at the end, I didn't disclose this to you, and you see that there are unintended beneficiaries behind the scene. I don't want to rip you off because of that. Otherwise, you could have sold to my closest for the same.
No, no, I don't, and I don't feel ripped off. Yeah, I don't mind if you like I said, we've known each other for a few years, so I don't mind if you share it with people. And in fact, it's just going to help me. It's going to help me clarify, because right now the way I'm downloading it out of here is pretty high level and high tech. So it's going to help me. Part of the reason I wanted to do it was to help refine,
Hmm.
what I was doing, because when I'm in front of an audience, I tend not to get as technical because you have the audience feedback. But again, I wanted to use it, just download the concentrated stuff so that I could break it down into maybe 5 potentially events or major high level stuff. I mean, I know, based on what they're teaching out nowadays, I mean, I should be doing 15, 20, $25,000 events easily.
You should. I mean, there's no. If they can do that, I don't see why you can't.
Yeah, no, because I mean, I was the star of the show on JT stuff anyways. So, anyways, but I'll start under the circumstances. I'm just going to start. I'm going to start, but I would love to. Yeah, let's give it a spin and see what we can do. So
Yep.
I'll send you the link thing, and then I'll shoot you over the first module, and away we go. So how's that sound?
Sure, no worries. I'm fine because at the end of the day, like I said, I just want to like this is what Blair is teaching. Is like teach your team how to sell. It's like so many years I have learned this formula, but the truth is that I'm really applying this right now because I'm
Yeah.
not really teaching other people how to sell. I'm focusing on building my team so that if the team is
Yeah.
able to do a good job, then the closers happy, clients happy, and you make me proud. So I'm thinking from that perspective.
Well, you'll you'll definitely pick up a lot for yourself, Jack, and your team's going to pick up a lot in terms of put it this way, they're going to have business knowledge that nobody else has out there. So
Yeah,
when they start talking to other business people, they're going to have these little diamonds and gems
like I said, and
where
it
where
sounds
the where the,
intelligent.
where the people on the other end are going to be going like, "Oh my God, where I've never heard that before."
Yeah, at least they
Because
know what is a. Sorry, sir. Can you explain again? What do you mean by the word funnel? What is a funnel?
yeah,
We do have this kind
exactly.
of people who go out and ask their prospect funnel. What is marketing? What is branding? It's like holy shit. All these
Well,
questions
see that
asking.
I'm putting modules on all of those things. So I just covered brand, but again, the way I teach branding is through values and emotional connections. That's how I teach branding, and
Okay.
I teach the history of branding too, by the way.
Mm,
Like branding when it was first like for cattle, and then branding becomes about values and people being. You'll see.
okay.
I think you'll like it. It's pretty cool.
Mm,
I, it's one of my students from Australia. He goes, "Let me get this straight. For $500, I get to hear you over and over again teaching me like this." He goes, "That's insane." That's and I go, "Well, yeah, it is. It's insanely cheap." So
yeah.
yeah, you like it.
Um,
But I am absolutely serious. I'm going to talk to my funnels guy, my
yeah.
Facebook genius there, and
If you
build
can
something.
look at the funnel part and build it nicely, I'm sure we can work together because our closers are familiar with that textbook model. And I
Yeah.
do have some, like, just give you one more example before we hang up. We do have some other people coming to us and said, well, I still want you guys to do the prospecting. So let's say you have got an email list and you need us to do prospecting.
No. I'm not going to do that.
That may be
No.
that may not be preferred because that becomes like cold calling thing. So
No, I'm not. No, I'm not going to do that. What we'll do is I'll work with him because he teaches neuroscience.
oh, okay, good.
He teaches neuromarketing at the University of Melbourne.
Okay,
Like he is really good.
okay.
And I just did him a massive favor. I landed him a job that's probably going to get him $500,000 a year at least.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. Yeah. So he owes me.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do is we'll put together a funnel system like a Facebook ads or whatever, and
Ads, webinar, application
yep.
flow.
Yep. And because I mean the thing is, because under the circumstances right now with everything going on in my family, I need the help.
Yeah.
I do. And to me,
do the funnel, you can be automatic. You can be run automatically without you being involved. So,
exactly. I want to concentrate on what I do best, which is creating content and teaching. Even though I know how to do closing and all that stuff, it's like I just don't have the time or the bandwidth right now. I just
so you see,
I don't.
I've done my research. Some people just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they don't. They don't. I literally don't have the time. And my best time, as I've come to know, like the one thing is, one thing I love about my wife is she creates an environment so I can just create. She gets rid of all the clutter in my life. You know what I mean? And right now she's not here, so but we're juggling this because it's a very difficult family situation. But having said that, I always understood my role as a performer, as a musician. You have other people around you who are excellent at what you do, or excellent at what they do, and you let them do what they do. Excuse me, and then you get the hell out of the way, so that you can go on stage for an hour and a half and 2 hours, and you do what you do best, and then you leave.
Yeah,
and this is something I've understood for show business for years. So
yeah, even for events, you can perform nicely in front, but let other people do the logistic and management of the events at the back.
Yeah, exactly. And that's you have to. That's how you build a great band.
Yeah, exactly.
You get people around you who are better than you, and then get out of the way.
Do you think that is a Kiyosaki's message? I'm not a smart guy in the team. Other people are smarter than me. I'm just a normal person, but I know how to deploy these specialists to work with me.
Well, if you saw, I don't know if you can see it. Where is it? Right up here. That big picture up there.
Yep.
That's a huge picture. That's me playing in my band. I was the lead singer.
How long ago?
Oh, that's 1981.
Oh my God. Okay.
Long time ago, my friend. Yeah.
Okay.
But I was the leader of my band, and the one thing that I understood as the lead singer is that I always got people around me, better talent. I mean, I was good, but I hired people who were more talented than me. I told them my vision. I said, here's what I want. Here's what I want. I don't know how to do this, but here's what I want. You guys figure it out. And then I just get out of the way.
Yeah.
And then they come back and they build that vision for me. So yeah.
And then at the end of the day, so as now we talk about all this business principle, I learned so long ago. I said, yeah, I knew then, but how am I exactly implementing it? So I do not know why suddenly, like in these last few months, I was able to build this team. Maybe the universe asked me to do it, or maybe it's because there's a demand for that, so I come up with this solution. So that's how things work. And then now I'm in the position to apply for the very real time, first time in my life, to implement all these principles in reality.
Yeah, but it's just like me. Sometimes it takes that long.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go through. Excuse me. Sometimes you have to go through certain things in your life to put you in the right place, right time, right position.
Yeah, I understand.
Because people are bugging me 5 years ago to go do my own thing, and I was like, I don't know. and then I was ready to do it, but then all of a sudden, then I had the cancer thing and all this stuff. But the funny thing is, even this has been a blessing, because it allowed me to step back and say, oh, when I was healing and everything else, I noticed huge changes in the marketplace, and I'm going, these guys, JT and his team, they're way off base. Way off base now.
Yeah.
Because they're so busy doing what they're busy. Sometimes you have to step back, and you have to pay attention. But
yeah, I know.
Whew,
oh,
at any rate,
that's a very interesting call. And
yeah,
that's very nice to reconnect with you and see the potential possibility of working together. Yeah.
There we go. We're back. Yeah.
Just so happy to reconnect with you and see the possibility of working together.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So you see, my job as a partner of the firm, just bring client on board. It's just
I think we can absolutely do that, and I'm very much I was genuinely insistent. That's why we've been talking for well over an hour already.
1 hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, because I was genuinely interested, and like you said, I noticed what you were doing several months ago. I go high ticket closing, and I knew what that was. I was just curious what you were doing with that, and I recognize that because, like I said, my sales guy's name. His name was Martin Crowder. He was the guy who I hired, an extra sales guy. So I recognized the value of that right away, because even if you're good from the platform, you're always going to lose some people who are afraid to ask questions. And they're like, there was just this one thing, but they're too afraid to ask. And that was the one thing that kept them from buying.
Yes.
It's like, right. And that's where it pays to have closing staff. And in fact, the biggest sales I ever did from the stage was in 2005 or 2007. And it was in Las Vegas at T. Harv Ekers. Do you know that name?
Which event? T. Harv Ekers 16.
Oh, back then it was Millionaire School.
Oh, okay.
And it was yeah, he's got tons of them. But it was I'm trying to think. I think it was 2005 or 2007. I can't remember it because it's going back a ways. But he had Millionaire School in Las Vegas, and I spoke in front of 1,000 people there. And that was a 4-day event. I was the first speaker, and which is a very dangerous position because,
first. I know the first.
That's a tough. Like everything. Oh, it's a great position because the audience is so exciting, but. I was the first speaker. There was 24 or 25 speakers in 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah. Brutal. Right.
Brutal, yeah.
And all the big speakers of those days, like actually Mark Victor Hansen, the guy who wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, he was on after me.
Okay.
So the true story, absolute true story. Yeah. So I had 90 minutes to speak, and I got a blah, 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 blah. And the thing is, I couldn't stay for the event because I literally I did the event. You run to the back of the room. I got swarmed by people. There was like 1,000 people in that room. But then I had to go. I had to literally run to the airport, catch an airplane, and go speak in another city. So I left behind a closer, a dedicated closer guy. Doug was his name. And I remember just crossing my fingers thinking, well, if I get, and I was selling at $4,000 a ticket at that time. I thought if I get one sale, well, I've had a good 2 days in Las Vegas and a steak dinner, So the funny thing is I phoned him up the next day and I said, Doug, how did we do? He said, well, you did really good. You're at 25. I said 20. I made $25,000. That's freaking awesome. I'm thrilled because there's so much competition. But I said, let's not jinx this. Don't cross the fingers, because there's so many speakers. You know how it is. They refund and they see the next
changing courses from one to the other.
Yeah, next shiny penny, right? And he goes, no, you big dummy. He goes, you made 25 sales. You're at $100,000 already. I was like, what? I was like, holy crap. And then the next day I phoned, because this is 4 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next day I phoned him up. I said, how are we doing? He said, you're doing really good. You're at 35. And I went, oh, so we got 10 more. He goes, no, you didn't get 10 more. You got 35 more. You're at 60 sales now.
Wow.
He goes, you've made almost $250,000. I was like, what? Oh my God. And then, and every day I'd call him up. The sales kept going up and up and up. And the very last day, I phoned him and I said, where are we at? And he goes, it's all closed out now. And you've capped out at 163 sales.
Wow.
So 16.3%. I was the number one closer, number one speaker rated.
Nice.
So that was 163 sales at 4,000 US, which was 652,000 US. And at that time, the Canadian dollar was really weak against the US. It was like $1.63. So it was like $1 million Canadian for me off that one talk. I had to give Harv half.
Yeah.
But believe me, I wasn't complaining.
No. 30% out, still laughing. Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, I was happy to write that check, but that's the best I ever did. But the main reason I shared that story with you was I don't think we would have done as well if I hadn't had Doug behind as the high ticket closer. So that's what I'm telling you. I totally recognize the value of that. I don't know how well we would have done without him. I'm sure I would have done well, but I have to acknowledge the fact. And I gave him a commission. I can't remember what we paid him. He didn't suffer. I know that much. So he made he did really well. Yeah. I'm sure we paid him at least. Well, I don't know. It was a lot of money, but it was well worth it. I mean, it was.
Some of you guys, because you have done platform closings before, like next month, two of my closers are flying to Kuala Lumpur for just 1 day. Same thing, because the influencer wants somebody to do the interview close. So the story is he's going to make an offer, but ask people to apply. So there will be interview on the spot, and he wants my closers to do the interview and do a closing on the spot. So it's again not something that we learn in 7 weeks. However, that I can teach them how to do that shit, if you like, and make sure that they know what they're doing. So there are so many variations, not directly from the textbook, that we learn in the 7 weeks.
Well, you know what? A lot of times the back of the room closing is they just want to know the FAQs, frequently asked questions, right? Yeah. And the second most important thing, and I know this from experience, is they want to know, is this guy for real? That's the question.
We call it legit.
They always want to know that. That's why whenever I worked with event staff, I was always respectful of them. I'd, buy them coffee or breakfast or dinner or something, and make sure I always treated my event staff well, because the people would come to the back of the room and they'd say, so this Les guy, okay, I got a quick question. What about this and what about this? But the real question I have is like, what's he really like? Is he real? Like, and they'd go, no, actually, he's one of the actually nicest guys you've ever met. In fact, he bought me coffee this morning or breakfast. And so that it's usually only FAQs and can you trust this guy or do you like him?
I can relate.
Right?
True. Send a list of the FAQ to the sales and do a briefing first. So this is common FAQ. Make sure you say it so that your answer is consistent to everyone.
Yeah. So to me, that's it. That's at the back of the room. That's really all you need. Yeah. And then after that, the closing stuff is like, well, just in or out, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. So
when we do platform closing, you kind of know the gist of that. No problem. So imagine I haven't done any platform closing. I don't know how it can be done too. Yeah, but I do know how it does. So okay, that's good. So my team therefore can do some of this variation, not just based on the standard textbook. That's what I've been saying about our proposition.
Well, it's just like I said. A lot of times, the closing is just the relationship building
Yeah, which is what we're
more
doing
than.
right now. You see?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's because it's a transference of emotion and faith and belief. Like it's
Yeah,
like I know this guy.
yeah,
Yeah, I know him. I know firsthand. I've learned from him. He's the real deal. This information is real. I know him personally. I know his reputation. Well, like with me, I mean, you know many people who know me out in
yeah,
Singapore, KL, and all over the world for that matter. That's the one thing I'm really, really proud of that I worked so hard to protect was my reputation and integrity. I
yeah,
mean, that's why I walked from that organization
yeah.
because,
It's not easy path, yet it doesn't mean it's not possible. It can be
yeah,
done. It's not easy,
yeah.
but it can be done. Yeah, totally relate. Okay, I think
So
we.
with that, my friend, I better get going. So I thank you very much for the time. I just wanted to say it's really good to reconnect with you. It's very nice to see you again. So
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And we do this behind the scene. Nobody knows we touch each other.
well, yeah. Well, listen, it doesn't matter anyways. I don't have a contract, so I don't care.
I don't know what it is to feel or how he feels if we are working together, but never mind. Who cares?
Yeah, listen, it does. You know what's really interesting? I thought I was a little concerned that when I put that course thing out online that I'd get a bunch of flack. Nothing,
Yeah.
absolutely zero from the office. I think so. Some people have said to me that JT actually has some respect for me, and I believe he does.
Mm,
I don't know, but I think number one that the office. I know the people at the office respect me, and
mm.
the second thing is I think that they know that if they tried to say anything bad about me online, that they would really have a war on their hands.
Oh, yeah. Another war, the less fans and the JD fans, and they'll just shoot each other. And
Yeah,
you
and
have to
and
watch
because I mean,
the images who don't want to see that.
and I've stayed all out of that stuff. I mean, I've never said anything bad about them online, and I won't.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's some value there. I just whatever need to move on. So
Yep. Exactly.
yeah. So, yeah, I'd be very much interested in continuing this conversation and building something because I am going to do this. I am going to do this. That's why I started doing this course in the first place.
Yep.
So I'll do that. I'll shoot you the course thing over and the payment thing, and I'll send you those modules and then I absolutely let's work on this. And I would welcome your help. I really would.
Thank you.
Because goodness knows I need it under the circumstances. And I'm looking for people. I have a very small handful of people that I trust. And
It's not easy.
well, no, but you can spot people pretty easily
Yeah. Is
that you
there a
can
formula
trust.
or science behind how you spot? I mean, that's another topic of another thing.
Well, there is, but I mean, I look at yeah, I go by gut intuition, and that intuition is well informed. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I like I said, I saw the work you were doing, and I didn't comment publicly because I just want to stay out of that storm.
Yeah.
But I remember distinctly you sitting in JT's house when we're in the main room, and you were over in the kitchen doing something. You were sitting at the counter and he did one of his hashtag thank you things. And you just looked over and smiled. And I went, Jack's insulted. I knew it. Right there, I knew. And I froze that memory in my mind.
Oh my
You
God.
just kind of smiled and nodded and went, you jerk. Like, I know that look.
I say that a lot of the teachers that I know, I respected in the first place, they like to say that they are living in abundance, but how many of them actually really practice what they say? And JT is one of those like living in scarcity. A few of my teachers, unfortunately, you like it or not, they're also living in scarcities. So they like the fact that I learn from them, but they don't like the fact that I learn from other people. I mean, is that fair game? Because you, JT Fox, you can have so many coaches helping you, but you don't allow me to have many other coaches to help me.
No. That's not right. You need to. The one thing I've told people, for me being as a coach, I've said I'm a great coach, but I'm not the right coach for everybody.
Yeah.
You have to learn. You have to learn from many people. The right coach for you or mentor or teacher or trainer is the one that teaches you what you need to know when you need to know it at the right time.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And that can be your brother or sister, mother, father, friend, not only just a formal business coach, but you need to learn all the stuff I'm putting into that training material. All that stuff is synthesized from things that I've learned from thousands of people all over the world. And that's how you become original, because the only real originality is when we take information in and we reflect upon it, and then we connect the dots, and then we synthesize, and then we create something that's maybe 10 or 15% new to put a new to put a new reflection on it. Yep. All wisdom is derived from, we stand on the shoulders of others. I stood on the shoulders of my coaches and mentors, and I'm only too happy to have people stand on my shoulders so they can see further than I can. That's our purpose in life. I think that's a very noble purpose to me.
True.
I think there is dignity and nobility in that.
Agree.
I honestly believe that. I mean, you can be a big star on stage, and listen, I'm really good on stage. There's very few speakers who can beat me on stage, but that's not the point. The point is not not me being the big rock star on stage. My job is to help you. You are supposed to be the rock star in your life.
Yeah. Which is
in whatever that definition is.
Better version of ourselves or other people's.
Yeah.
That's
my job is to, and when I say empower, if I say inspire, I mean it's like I said on that video. If I'm going to inspire, I can inspire people by words. I prefer inspiring by action. If I'm going to empower, I prefer to empower by knowledge and tools.
Yeah, that struck me because I'm an action guy. On Facebook, I have to project an image to tell the world that I'm really result focused, I'm action focused, but deep down, I'm not that type of people. I love just to learn, absorb new information, and that's what I enjoy most. But business, unfortunately, like or not, action, result are the only things.
Well, that's what people want. But it's really funny, and I'll just leave you with this. I was talking with my son today, who's a filmmaker, and Sue Tong was kind of challenging me on this, because I said, I don't like being a motivational speaker, but sometimes I really don't, because I actually despise most of them. But the funny thing is I find when I start speaking in terms of inspiration, that's what people want to hear from me. They don't necessarily want to hear my content. I have killer content. I'm like, but this is what you need. And they're like, I don't want what I need. I just want to hear this. And I thought about it, because I've played in, my whole office. I got 3 guitars in here. Sometimes people just want to be entertained and made to feel good. So I've actually thought about that too, is that maybe the thing I'm fighting the most is the thing that I need to do the most.
Yeah.
Because I find that when I speak from my heart, boy, it just connects.
Yep.
They don't want me to teach them. They just want me to give them some words of comfort or something that makes them feel good. And I'm like, but this is not really going to help you. But it's like, but maybe it is. I don't know, Jack. I struggle with that. I have to be honest with you.
Well, put this way, maybe seeding for a longer term about the killing content. Someone they were like what I said earlier. Oh, after a few years, I finally figured out I need your content less. Please give me now. I can't wait.
Well, funny enough, I mean, you respond that last video I did. I was just like on a rant, right?
Ah,
And I got great response. I thought, okay, so maybe I need to do more of that then. So I
well,
don't know. I'm gonna figure it out as I go. So
no problem.
yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, thank you so much, my friend.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I
Good.
look forward to hearing from you about your funnel. Then I wait for your link and payment.
Yeah. I'll send that over to you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And yeah, we'll reconnect soon. Okay.
Okay, sure. Thanks very much. Bye
Take
bye.
care.